My name is Julia Coronado. I'm the founder of Macro Policy Perspectives. I've spent my entire adult life in the financial services industry, from being a bank teller to staff economist at the Federal Reserve Board to chief economist at one of the largest global investment banks. Our current lack of digital infrastructure has left our economy vulnerable to increasing attacks. An important byproduct of a CBDC will be a public-private partnership that confronts the most significant risk to the functioning of our market economy. Some Fed officials have urged the need for caution given the dollar's role as the global reserve currency. I cite that as a need to move forward with urgency. Private cryptocurrencies are proliferating that pose risks to financial stability. Other countries are advancing the ball on CBDCs. The US should not just be engaged, but be playing a leadership role. Digital currencies also present an opportunity to make monetary policy more equitable and efficient. Why does the Fed need a new tool for monetary policy? Interest rates have fallen around the world in recent decades, leaving the Fed and other central banks increasingly reliant on balance sheet policy to achieve their goals. Bond purchases work by lowering long-term rates and boosting asset prices. The Fed has faced the critique that its policies exacerbate inequality, and boosting asset prices does make the rich richer. However, the alternative is to allow unemployment to increase, disproportionately harming lower wage and Black and brown workers. Doing nothing is not an option, but the Fed lacks the tools to boost the economy in a more equitable fashion. Digital accounts can add a more equitable tool. We propose the creation of recession insurance bonds, zero coupon bonds authorized by Congress, calibrated as a percent of GDP sufficient to provide meaningful support in a downturn. The Treasury would hold these securities on behalf of the public. The Fed would purchase them in a downturn and credit household digital accounts. Cash transfers may sound like the domain of fiscal policy, yet it precisely mirrors the permanent expansion of the money supply Milton Friedman described as helicopter money.
For hosting this hearing to discuss national security, privacy, and competitive implications of a potential United States digital dollar. As we carry on these discussions on and off the committee, we must not forget that the benefit of having a digital dollar would only come to fruition if it were open, permissionless, and private. Any attempt to craft a central bank digital currency that enables the Fed to provide retail bank accounts and mobilizes the CBDC rails into a surveillance tool able to collect all sorts of information on Americans would do nothing other than put the United States on par with China's digital authoritarianism. Our banks and fintechs, that's okay, you can laugh, but it's real and it's happening. You talk to the Chinese, what their government's doing to them. Our banks and fintechs are doing a great job serving their customers and expanding access to financial services. It's the competitive marketplace of the private sector that facilitates that achievement. For this reason, I am deeply concerned by Chair Powell's recent comment before the full committee that the strongest argument in favor of central bank digital currencies is that, quote, you wouldn't need stable coins. You wouldn't need cryptocurrencies if you had a digital US currency, close quote. Our government should never be in the business of designing a tool that will wipe out an entire innovative private market, a market that creates far more capital and provides far more high-tech jobs than the government will ever be able to do. More than anything, cryptocurrencies, stable coins, and other private market blockchain innovation open doors to immense opportunities for Americans. These decentralized projects have an underlying code that is open source, meaning anyone can find it, study it, verify it, and build projects on top of it. It is in this way that crypto and blockchain expand opportunity for everyone, whether that's financial inclusion or capital formation or tech innovation. With cryptocurrencies, no one has to ask a bank or a corporation, or perhaps most importantly, their government, for permission to start a project or launch a business or get a loan. That's the way it should be. And by the way, it's interesting how cryptocurrencies have grown as government seeks to grow ever bigger and try to make decisions for the public. The size and scope of government versus a right of an individual to self-determine is exactly what is pushing the development of this area. And it's great to have all of you here and talk about this wonderful topic. But I'll tell you, if we don't start to figure this out and get ahead of it, this market's going to happen with or without us, and it's going to happen here or somewhere else. So, Mr. Baldwin, why don't I start with you? In your testimony, you mentioned that international competition is decreasing in the United States, in the United States' role in international finance, and that our lack of a CBDC plays into that. It's my belief that decentralized technology like cryptocurrencies and blockchain and the blockchain technology that they sit on, maintain a fundamental American principle. That is individual privacy, a free marketplace, and competition with innovation. Why should the Fed focus on uplifting private crypto markets and blockchain innovation rather than crafting a CBDC that wipes out this great industry, or has the potential, according to Chair Powell, to wipe out the industry? Specifically, can you touch on how a thriving crypto and blockchain industry in the United States could make the United States of America more competitive with respect to international finance?
I think the goal across this hearing is to promote faster, cheaper, and easier to use payment mechanisms. A private sector-led approach opens a lot of opportunities in areas such as micropayments. That's engineering jobs, that's jobs for salespeople, creating innovations such as real-time payments. So if you're an hourly worker, getting paid for the hours you work in real time. Or if you're a music producer, getting paid for your streams. These previous transactions that are low cost were infeasible in our current system. So a private sector approach really promotes opportunities to innovate in different areas and have private developers see a need for it in the market and then go and develop the tool.
Mr. Baldwin, in the few seconds I have left, is there any reason in the world why a free market constitutional republic with free citizens able to self-determine should want to emulate a communist party-driven authoritarian type digital currency program?
The Chinese central bank digital currency approach has a lot of negatives in areas such as consumer privacy. Any approach the U.S. takes should make sure to steer clear and respect the privacy of the American citizens.
Thank you. I see my time's expired.
I recognize the importance and frankly, the power that it gives the United States to have the world's global reserve currency. As I listen to people put emphasis on that, though, I wonder whether each of our witnesses thinks it's more important that the U.S. dollar is the global reserve currency or that the United States has sound money. Sound money or global reserve, Mr. Baldwin?
I think they operate in accordance together.
You know, we could really debate whether we actually have sound money tonight or not, but I think we're doing a nice sample pack of modern monetary theory. There is no lender for this, helicopter money that Dr. Coronado referred to. We're actually destroying the dollar, which is why there's been an interest in things that aren't U.S. dollars. It's created asset price inflation in our stock markets. People have fled cash reserves for anything but cash. Wise folks have recognized, the student Ray Dalio said it, well before the coronavirus, cash is trash. Not because the U.S. dollar is bad, but because the monetary policy is bad. We're destroying the dollar. With our fiscal policy, and Dr. Coronado integrating fiscal policy with it is terrific. So the real question is, when you look at what's happening with the central bank digital currency, some of the aficionados for this, when I hear Mr. Fanucci laud the Chinese, and it almost seems like there's a coveting of the power that China would have by being able to create this really creepy surveillance tool, by being able to know everything about every person, and including every transaction, and frankly, the ability to filter those transactions for the power of the state. I guess if you're a statist, you would actually love that tool. And if you look at the things that Dr. Coronado is talking about, and Dr. Levin referenced, to perfect the monetary policy, you could give the Fed more power than they already have as the most powerful central planner that we have, to distort the economy. And frankly, if you want to perfect negative interest rates, you make sure that people can only hold digital currencies. because you can destroy the holdings. You can put expiration dates on people's dollars. So these are tools that people are proposing. They're not said here in public, but they have been mentioned at the Bank of International Settlement. So, you know, this is not something that I think we should seek to do, is empower the central bank to do these things. So I think about, how did we come to have this conversation? We largely had it because someone under the pseudonym, or some people under the pseudonym, Satoshi Nakamoto, created Bitcoin. It made the blockchain secure architecture, you know, widely known and widely used and very attractive for its features. And so when I talk about the features, it's a true distributed ledger technology. It allows some level of privacy. And as we've talked about, the challenges for the payment system, all these things are already happening, Dr. Levin. They're already happening. They're happening without a central bank digital currency. That's part of the beautiful nature of crypto. Stable coins like Paxos Gold, for example, are stable, and we don't have to have Federal Reserve accounts that track the value of gold. So if you look at this, and you just go down the line quickly, is the permissionless nature of Bitcoin a feature or a flaw? Mr. Baldwin.
A feature.
Dr. Coronado. Don't know. Dr. Levin.
Bitcoin is expensive to use and it's slow.
Okay, so you see it as a flaw, Mr. Finucci?
It's a feature and a flaw. Can be a flaw, yeah.
Okay.
Same feature and flaw.
Sure, flaw. Okay, so it's not a perfect tool. I don't think that the Fed's going to perfect it unless they find a way to keep it permissionless. I yield.